Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the North Augusta Planning Commission. If we could please have everyone introduce themselves, or do our call to order, and then I will go over kind of the rules of engagement.
Aaron Slade.
Bob Bigger.
Jesse Elliott.
Lisa Christie.
And I am your chairperson, Christine Crawford. So let's do the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes or edits that anyone caught in the minutes? If not, can I please have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Mr. Paradise, are there any changes or edits to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And for all of you all who are participating tonight, thank you all for joining us. The way that we do things is we'll go over the application. Mr. Paradise will share what he would like for us to know. We ask him questions, may or may not ask him questions. Then the applicant comes forward, presents what information they would like to share. As commissioners, we ask questions, and then I open it up for the public. We ask that if you do make a comment, that you keep it to about 2 minutes. That if your neighbor, in the general and specific sense, has shared one perspective, that you share something different so that we have a chance to kind of have a greater understanding of viewpoints, but hear new information as well. And when you come to the podium, please make sure that you give your name and address for all those in Facebook land. We ask when we have, do open it up for public comments or questions, that all comments and questions are asked at that time, and then we will have the applicant return to the podium to answer those questions at one time. Okay. All right. So let's get started with PDM 26-002, Plan Development Modification and a request by Savannah Construction Services. Mr. Paradise, what would you like for us to know about this?
Yes, ma'am. This is the River Club, also the North Augusta Golf Venture Plan Development. It affects about 0.3 acres in its zone plan development. The original, or it has been modified several times from the original plan development. At one time, before the townhomes was there was supposed to be a conference center on this parcel, and the townhomes were approved. And in that PD modification, the subject parcel here that you see was designated as mixed use. As y'all remember, under Sinclair, there are certain requirements in a PD, and let me read those to you so you have them fresh in your mind. A plan development is to be comprised of housing of different types and densities and compatible commercial uses, to be characterized by a unified site design for mixed-use development, and making a recommendation to City Council. So it's supposed to have retail and offices and things that complement the neighborhood. So that was what was approved on this parcel, was mixed use, and it had to be 75% commercial. That's restaurant, retail, and office space, and 25% residential. The applicant has purchased the owner has purchased the parcel and has requested that the PD be modified to 25% commercial and 75% residential. The planning department staff is trying to walk that fine line. I think the public would rather this be residential, but at the same time, not get upside down with our state Supreme Court ruling in Sinclair that requires the mixture there. And so he asked about doing the 75%, and my response was, well, we can fly it up the flagpole and see what council says. Anything that is there will require on-site parking. They have asked to be allowed to use underneath the bridge. If they get an encroachment permit from DOT, from the planning department's aspect, that is wasted space under the bridge and would be some utilization to it if DOT would allow that. The other thing is that if they do that, it's going to be several years down the road because they're about to replace the bridge. There has been some discussion about this being laydown yard for that construction when I talked to Georgia DOT about it. But this gives you an idea of the parcel, and you can see parcel A is subdivided out. It's a different parcel. It's standalone, and it has these existing entitlements to it. You did get, or should have got a email from a gentleman that I forwarded to y'all about not doing away with the green space. Well, it's an undeveloped lot. I don't call that green space. Green space is something that's dedicated to remain undeveloped. And this has always been a developable lot. This is the mythology from the original plan in 2004. And this gives you kind of an outline of what they are proposing to do. And you can see where they would propose the parking under the bridge there, if DOT would allow it. With a 3-story building, it'd be a total of 14,700 square feet total. The big thing is changing it from 75% commercial to 75% residential and 25% commercial. And also in there, we took out the requirement for the greenway because that's already in existence. And do you have any questions for me?
I know you mentioned by law we have to have the distribution of different types of housing and commercial and residential. Is it listed anywhere what those percentages have to be?
No, it is not. That is not listed in state law.
You can speak it to the microphone, please. The wording on, I'm trying to find it, page.
I think it's page 6 of 7.
Yes. It's like exactly what we have as the parameters.
And what is it, do you know at least roughly the total area that this PD covers? I know it is the golf course, correct?
It's the golf course, it's this area, and I think it's Shore Drive.
Okay.
And the development down Shore
So
Drive.
nothing on the other side of the bridge?
Correct.
And we don't know if the golf course counts as,
I would say that it does not, because that is a private club now. It's not open to the general public. But I am not an attorney.
Is there going to be an alternate parking plan if DOT says no? Because I don't think 7 spaces is going to be enough.
When
If
they,
they say no.
yeah, when they submit the site plan for the property, they will have to comply with the development code, with the parking requirements. And so if they can't fit the parking on there, they'll either have to come to the BZA for variance, or they'll have to change the footprint of the building to accommodate the additional parking.
When you look at the original intent, like when this was originally drafted, there was a significant mixed use of different things. And so clearly we have residential all around this, and to put 25% commercial, do we have a bigger option than just, I mean, I know it's a PD, but it,
Right now, as it stands today, it's 75% commercial.
well, correct. But with the request, I'm just saying, with the club being private now, if we're excluding that commercial component.
So that is what we are here to
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
And so so that is the very question that we will discuss. And so we'll not offer the applicant an opportunity if there are no other questions. Mr. Paradise at this time, then we'll ask the applicant to come forward. Please give your name and address, and then we have the opportunity to ask those questions. All right, thank you.
Good evening. Lance Cheeley, 1104 Campbellton Drive, North Augusta. I'm here tonight with Cranston Engineering, representing the owner, Savannah Construction Services. I'd like to start with just a little bit of backstory on how the owner that I'm representing came to be involved with the parcel. So roughly 2008, 2009, this parcel went on the market. The client bought it with very little knowledge of what the parameters were. He sat on the parcel. He's owned it for over 10, almost 20 years now. He's getting older, and he's trying to start doing something with the pieces of property. He owns, from what he's told me, numerous properties around South Carolina, and he just kind of was buying them when they were low and holding on to them. When I got into the project, knowing the site, knowing where it was, I was very surprised that it had a commercial component at all. We took time, and my owner, for what it's worth, does not really care to do commercial construction or real estate. That's not his bread and butter. We did sit down with Tommy once we found out that it was in PD, that there were some existing requirements on the site, and went through a few options, knowing that the site was already slated as part of a PD. We have to start there. The parameters for that pertaining to the building are 14,700 square feet, and 75% of that being commercial. At first glance, not only do we not care very much about commercial, I also acknowledge that that was probably not what most residential unit owners or occupants in this area probably want. So we were looking for a solution to allow two things: meet the letter of the law and essentially maximize out of that original 14,700 square foot authorization the most residential capacity in square footage that we can get. I would also like to say it's the intent of the owner to build something that is in general alignment with what's around. We don't have a set footprint or a set unit mix or any of those things, because we have a lot of things up in the air, such as, do we even get an authorization tonight? What does our parking do with the acknowledgments that we need from DOT and others? And just a general, we're really at the tip of the iceberg, the starting point here. The direction that we get tonight will really tell us that course. We'll obviously have to come back for further approval, site plan, building plan, et cetera. So you will most likely, I'm sure Tommy, have another look at this before it's all said and done. This really is the first step for us in really acknowledging if the owner is going to move forward with him, or if he would go to market with the site, or whatever the case may be. We have had some discussions with GDOT and SCDOT regarding the bridge component. There are some things that they would like from us, and so we are kind of trying to negotiate at the start what the parking scenario would look like. As you know, there are some long timetables for what their completion is. That will have an effect on our ability to start, finish, occupy, et cetera, et cetera. But we do need the Planning Commission authorization to know how to proceed forward. But there are a lot of questions that we would not be able to answer at this point, as far as unit mix or parking, or things that follow from that. I believe I hit most of the questions. If there was a commercial component, assuming there is a commercial component, it is not the owner's desire to make that a predominantly public-facing business, but it would be potentially some sort of asset that serves this area more so. Like I don't want to spitball things, but laundry, something that could. He's not really into. Honestly, if he gets the approvals that we want, it could maybe never be an issue. So I think that's all I have.
Any questions at this moment for Mr. Cheeley?
So with the time frame of the bridge obviously being several, if not many years, are you looking to try to get these approvals and get plans done and wait till that's done to start the building? Or are you trying to build, I mean, because that just gets into, because parking is definitely not gonna be available under the bridge till it's done.
Sure.
So is that long game something y'all are trying to play?
It's definitely something that we're considering. You know, depending on what the market says, you know, we would entertain something. You know, as I understand it, some of these units are standalone units with surface parking. Some are park below residential units. So, you know, depending on, again, how this shakes out, we don't know whether we would do park below or, you know, parking is really up in the air depending on how many units and how, you know, how much authorization we get here. We have had those discussions. There are some pending. This is where the SCDOT, DOT wants to access and lay down. So depending on how they were to incentivize the owner, or not incentivize the owner, he may push forward or he may pull back. So there are some things there that are still up in the air.
Any other questions from Ms. Chili at this time? We certainly have time to have him come back up.
Thank you.
All right, are there any from the public who would like to come forward? If so, please give your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Eddie Butler, and I'm a property owner in the area and in the landing. I'm a partner or owner of approximately 11 units there. When we purchased those units, we've always known that this was a developable lot. There's no issue with that. But parking is an issue. And although we were here less than a year and a half ago in front of the Board of Appeals because we had a resident who wanted to run a law practice out of one of the units, and we lost. So the business was granted, which increases traffic in an area where, since this PUD was created 20 years ago, parking needs have changed drastically. We have an apartment complex that's just built in a traffic circle. We have a baseball stadium that wasn't there. I didn't design this initial plan. The city of North Augusta laid this out in 2005, 2006, or the developer did, and parking was not adequate at that time. So fast forward 20 years, we have parking issues there. So the fact that this property will develop, I take no issue with. We've known all along that it was a developable property and would agree to that. But having the parking under the bridge, right now the bridge, our current discussions with the developer on the bridge, they could not encroach on the stadium side. That was too precious. So all the right-of-way is being taken up to the backs of our units. So I've got units that we don't know that we'll be able to back out of the driveway. They may not be used, we may lose parking because of the bridge, but I hear a zoning change and they're gonna get parking under the bridge. That's a little concerning to, you know, and maybe we should have been smarter. Maybe we should have gone and got the parking before they did. But I would just beg you of this, before there's a zoning change, I'd like to know that there's going to be adequate parking, because in that area that tends to be an issue. But we don't take any issue with the fact that it's a developable property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. All right, are there any other members of the community that have questions or comments for Mr. Shealy? Okay. There being none, we will open it up for discussion. I can share my thoughts to get the ball rolling. I certainly am not okay with the complete inverse of what is commercial, because I think, given the flexibility and what was awarded to them, because it was a planned development and there was a component of it that is always supposed to be open to the general public, there's supposed to be public traffic, and this was to provide that. If you take that and have only 25% and the rest is completely private, then it should not have been a planned development. And so I think to come back with the last bit and try to change the entire development is a bit problematic for me personally. So I certainly perhaps would consider some deviation, but in no way am interested in the complete inverse of what was initially put in place. And I hate that the owner did not know that when he purchased it, but that kind of in some ways, you were buying a part of a planned development, don't know what else he thought was commercial. That's not our responsibility to fix at this point, so, to me.
Question for Mr. Paradise. How did we get here? Obviously, this planned development had a requirement for commercial all along. This seems to be the worst parcel of all, or was it within this whole planned development, or was this parcel and just what's left? Because I would assume that if you were going to do something commercial, you would have done it up by the traffic circle where there was easier access than down here on the other side of residential.
Unless you were going to use the commercial to access the river. You have the river frontage there as well. But I really don't know. This was 2004, 2005 timeframe, long before Tommy. And, this is a remnant, the last parcel. It is the commercial portion that just never got built.
Just so I'm clear, there is no other commercial in there, right?
The only other commercial that I'm aware of is the golf course, which is private.
You all share?
I feel like it's an awkward place to put commercial development, but I also agree with you that I don't think that it should be switched now. I don't think there's enough with all the laws and everything required for planned development. I don't think this would be right.
So my question is, does someone have the option to move it from PD to something else to eliminate? Because if I'm living in those townhomes and those homes, I don't know that I want that commercial element, even though that's what the PD requires right there in my neighborhood. So that's a bigger question.
Well, but it's kind of, as somebody who lives in one, you also knew that it was planned development when you purchased your home. So it was disclosed. It is, in my opinion, not unlike other instances where something stays vacant for a very long time and we forget what the original use of it was, what the lines were, where their property lines were, ours were. So again, everybody has gotten used to it not having a commercial component, but that is not what they purchased into. It was a planned development when they bought their home. So you knew there was a commercial component. So.
And as Mr. Butler kind of alluded to, the vote isn't development or not development. This parcel is zoned for some building, so we're not trying to protect green space. The only thing on our plate today is to flip to consider flipping the commercial to residential.
There's a lot going on here. Like one thing you said, like he just wasn't aware when he bought it that this was the thing. That's kind of on him. I understand how things like that can happen if you're buying stuff all over the state, but that's on him. I do agree it's a weird place for commercial. I think my biggest holdup is the law, which is kind of where it stops. This is a pretty decent sized area, and if there's no commercial, and this is the only thing, 25% of that building being commercial, it's going to be just a little pinch. And as weird as it would be to have something, I can't figure out what commercial would work well there anyway. And I'd hate for it to be built and then just sit empty. You mentioned you didn't like flipping 25 to 75. Are you thinking like a 50-50, or are you just thinking leave it like it is? Do you have a thought on that?
I certainly still am not even open to 50-50 because it is the only in the entire development. And so if that was proposed in the initial proposal, I think, again, it doesn't have to keep the same use because things change, and it doesn't have to be a conference center. As a conference center, that would have made sense, right? So
Sure.
So I can't even say that I can't imagine that there are no commercial uses that would make sense. I can't, I don't know.
Right.
Right, but, I certainly would not, I don't even think I'd be okay with 50-50. Now, if it were the, you know, the will of the group and everybody else was fine, we could discuss it. I think, if there's anyone who is interested in 50-50, then certainly making a motion towards 50-50, and then we can discuss it and vote, if that's something that any of the commissioners are interested in.
Excuse me. And just so y'all know this, you know, a lot of times y'all are the final decision maker. On this one, you're making a recommendation to city council, and they'll make the final decision.
Thank you.
And I do agree, you know, I've been in there and parking is an issue, so if we add that commercial component and then under the bridge is not available, because I mean, that could be 7 years from now, who knows how long that's gonna take, you know, that's,
Well, and whether it's commercial or residential, parking could be an issue depending on what commercial comes in there and what time it could affect it. Like, parking is just, as you grow, parking could be a thing. I think either way, parking under the bridge should be something looked at, especially if they use it as a laydown yard. You might have some leverage to say, hey, well, let us use this. Because otherwise, that's just kind of not used space.
Right, well, but to also be clear, parking becomes a design issue at that point,
Sure.
right? So it could be that a much smaller footprint for a building is required,
Right.
regardless of the use, that would allow for parking, adequate parking. So that's not, you know, we can't, I don't think we should try to address something that the owner hasn't even tried to address first, and when it gets to that point.
Yeah.
But that's, again, my opinion. But is there, any other thoughts? Everybody's thinking and shaking. And either way, I need a motion in the positive. So even if, it is to be voted down, still need a motion, of some sort on the table for an action.
Mr. Shealy was asking, does he get an opportunity to respond to anything?
Technically, no, but I certainly don't mind. Come on, if you wanna, is there something else you wanna? Yeah, you do, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about us, because we skipped to, yeah, yeah.
I had two things to just put before the group. Look, just to maybe flesh out a little bit more of the physical nature of the, so you got 14,000 square feet, you got about a 15,000 square foot site. So, if you are talking 2/3 of that, or 3/4 of that being, commercial, you're looking at some sort of 2-story commercial use essentially, or more. Whereas residential, you could probably be, and then there would be, you know, likely residential on top of that. Just wanted to fill in the discussion a little bit, you know, is how does that mix into the situation? And then the more commercial that you include, you'll also drive, current parking requirements up. So, and we wouldn't be able to put a, you know, you wouldn't see like a park under commercial residential over situation. So you would really be, and it's, you know, it's, again, I would voice to say, I never meant to come up here early and say, my owner didn't know, so you should give us anything. No, it is 100% a, you know, buyer beware situation. But I did think I would just fill in that kind of spatial layout kind of thought. And then just the parking requirements, again, would be very flexible and driven by, you know, what's left over after that. Thank you, sir.
No, well, are there any other questions? while he's back up? Again, thank you for correcting me, because I forgot.
So a motion has to be made essentially to recommend approving it, and then we vote yes or no against that.
So just because, so you could make a motion as is, so as to, in accordance with the request of, residential not to, the residential, you could make a motion, for the request, which is for residential to be, 75% and commercial to be no more than 25%. And someone could second it, and then we could all vote no, and that will be the recommendation. So it will be as is to the council. If someone also has a counter, so you think maybe it should be 60-30 or 50-50, then we could vote, and then that would be the recommendation. So you can do it in either. So motions can happen in either.
Tommy, in the whole PD, because I don't think any of our info had this, is there any other undeveloped lots in that River Club? I'm seeing a no. Okay, I didn't think so.
Not that I'm aware of. If there is, I would think it would be a lot on Shore Drive,
And,
be
okay,
residential.
gotcha.
If it makes it easier, it's a recommendation, so,
Sure.
but we do need to make one, so.
All right, so I'll do this to get it going, but I do want to make sure that I'm doing this correct. I will make a motion in the positive to recommend the approval for PDM 26-002. What else do I need? I mean, I'll make that motion, but I'll be honest, I'm gonna vote against it.
Yeah, no, so okay, so get.
I just want to be clear where we're at.
So no,
I just want to make sure I'm understanding
A
this.
motion is putting it up for vote. A motion is not supported. So the motion needs to be for the plan development modification to change the requirement to being no more than 25% commercial. I would recommend to be the motion, that it can be seconded, and then I will call for a vote, and you will all have an opportunity to say yea, including those who both made and seconded.
I'm trying, y'all, I promise.
No, I got you. I got you.
This is an interesting one. So I will make a motion for PDM 26-002, essentially to stay the same, which is 25%.
Can't do it to stay the same. You have to do it to.
Would somebody else like to give it a go?
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the, let's see where I'm at.
Ms. Waddell, can I give you a suggestion?
Sure.
Make a motion to approve as submitted?
I would like to move to approve. Nope, that's the wrong one. I would like to make a motion to approve PDM 26-002 as written.
As submitted.
As submitted, sorry.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Now, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Thank you. All right. All right. So as submitted is the word for the day. All right. So we are on next to annexation 26-001, Swallow Lakes Townhomes. All right, Mr. Paradise, what would you like for us to know about this application?
Yes, ma'am. You may remember a few months back, or more than a few months back, you approved a major site plan or major subdivision plan for Swallow Lake Townhomes. It's 0.16 acres off of Lake Green, we're annexing 0.16 acres off of Lake Greenwood Drive. This was the preliminary plat that you approved. You'll notice over on the right with the connection to Lake Greenwood Drive, from the lot that faces Lake Greenwood Drive is not in the city. On the site plan, that connection's required. And of course, the city wants that in the city, so we can control the development, how the street is designed. They have been working with Aiken County to get the encroachment permits for the connection to Lake Greenwood. The developer has gotten that now. And so now, it's not, the preliminary plat for the big part over on the left has already been approved. This site plan's been approved. But we are coming back to you for a recommendation of Lot B, right here. This is the question before you, is a recommendation for annexation of this portion of that parcel. And as you see, it's been divided into 3 different parcels, A, B, and C. And Lot C and Lot A has been deeded to the adjacent properties. And so all that is there is Lot B, which would be the city right-of-way, coming out to make the connection to Lake Greenwood. And that is to give us, as I call it, the back door into this development. Otherwise, if you come in off of Swallow Lake, it would exceed our block length. And they did not get a waiver for the block length because we had the back door here. So this is really closing up that loop.
And then, given that it's gonna, I'm sorry, you finished?
I'm good.
So given that it's gonna be a right-of-way, could you help me understand why it needed to be zoned, I guess, R7? Is that just the easiest way to?
Because this parcel is zoned R7 and we have to give it a designation with annexation.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Paradise? There being none, if the applicant can please come forward and give your name and address.
Good evening, Philip Green, 1233 Augusta West Parkway. Thank you for hearing us tonight. As Mr. Paradise mentioned, this was a secondary connection for Swallow Lake Townhomes, which was previously approved as a preliminary plat here at this commission. We had to get permission from Aiken County to make that connection, which we have done. And it then becomes a matter of cleaning up, rather than have city right-of-way that stops at a point and that becoming a county road. It cleans everything up to make it all city-owned and maintained. So the only portion that would be getting annexed would be the portion that you see up there labeled as Lot B, which would be the right-of-way of the road. Again, bringing it in as R7 is just to match the existing property that is tying together with. I think ultimately that would probably be a non-conforming lot for any other use other than a road right-of-way. So there's absolutely no other intent there. But it was something that was requested by the city to do, again, just to kind of clean everything up and connect those properties together where it just makes sense. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions? Any questions for Mr. Farney? There being none, are there any from the public?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. There being no public comments or questions, if I could, any discussion and or a motion?
So a motion here would include the annexation and the zoning together in one.
Correct, yes.
Are we on our way to a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ANX 26-001 as submitted.
All right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, there being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Thank you. All right, we are on to Carolina Lakes Phase 1 Major Subdivision preliminary plat.
Words are hard, guys.
Yes. Yes, I think it's the heat coming on.
Yeah.
Mr. Paradise, would you have anything that you'd like for us to know about this application?
Yes, ma'am. This is Carolina Lakes is located off of Gregory Lake Road. It's Landmark Investments. It's a 92.03 acre tract. It is typically what's referred to around is the Baggett property, where the pond is at. The Baggett family owned it for years and has sold it. It's zoned R14. It's a large lot, single-family residential zone. It is going to have 110 single-family detached homes in it. They are requesting a waiver to the block length, to allow 1,350 feet instead of the required 650 feet. This is the subject property here. Kind of makes an L shape. The entrance is in that curve. We've talked to DOT about the entrance. We have, DOT has gone out and looked at it and cleared it, and it's up to them to whether they authorize the connection there or not. We have concerns, but, you know, that's, DOT is, has to approve it meeting their sight lines to allow the encroachment permit there. This gives you an overall look at what this phase is. You notice some of the block links will run into additional phases, and overall this development will have over 500 single-family detached homes proposed for it. And it will have an entrance off of Murrah Road, and also, I think it's Country Club, one of the roads there. This just ties some of the pages there. And I have run out of slides for you. But it is for the preliminary plat approval. There is no, the 110 units really comes down to, I think, that is what they could put in before they have to start putting in traffic improvements. So the next phase, when that comes in, we'll be talking about traffic improvements from their traffic study. That is included in the packet there. And the sewer will be provided by us. The water is provided by Edgefield County Water and Sewer Authority. Do you have any questions for me?
It may be a better question for the applicant, but there is no alternative to an entrance on that curve.
We have had long discussions about that, and there's, yeah, that, me and DOT had a long discussion, and there does not appear to be another alternative to that. DOT told me that they were going to do a field study on it and have them mark it and check the sight line on site before they signed off on the permit.
So if they don't sign off on the permit, then,
They don't get that curb cut, and they'll be back to you.
okay, they come back. That's what I was going, okay.
Yeah, if they don't get the encroachment permit from DOT to enter the highway there, then they won't be allowed to. And I would think their only option would be to redesign it and bring an entrance off another road. But where they're at there, in this particular parcel where they want to start development from the Gregory, my understanding is, and they can talk to this better than me, but start at Gregory Lake Road and work back toward Murrah Road.
Yeah, I drive home this way every single day, and so I'm very familiar with that. And that was A1 top of the concern heap, because especially with no street lights or anything, it gets very dark there. And that's just not a, yeah, okay.
And I will also chime in that in the traffic study, it seemed to think that people were not gonna go out that way. It only said like 15% of the traffic they thought was gonna use Gregory Lake Road. I'm like, why would you go up to Murrah to come down to go to the interstate? Like, people are gonna dump out on that road. So, and again, that may be an applicant question, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why don't you start on the Murrah Road side where it's safer egress there, and then deal with the DOT or maybe trying to come up with an alternative, but I don't know. The curve is concerning to me.
Okay, so we'll have the applicant come forward to present their information, and then we'll have an opportunity to address both our questions, and I don't think there are any public left. So.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Robert Titus with EMC Engineering on behalf of Landmark and.
If you could lean into the microphone and repeat yourself, because we didn't catch that. You're gonna have to probably, yeah, I'm sorry that it is
That's
not
all right.
tall friendly.
I know why Philip was leaning up against this thing now. Robert Titus with EMC Engineering, representing Landmark Investments, 4424 Columbia Road, Martinez, Georgia. I kind of caught some of the stuff. So the reason that we started on Gregory Lake was because that was the piece of property that was purchased. There was some agreement with, however, so that was the piece that he purchased first. We had concerns also with the curve. We met DOT out there, ran the numbers based on 30 miles an hour, and I think that may be the problem, is the road's fairly narrow. And if you drive it at 30 miles an hour, not too bad. So what we did was we designed it such that you had the sight distance that is required by South Carolina DOT. We did meet them in the field, stepped it off, they drove it, they looked at it, and they said, okay, yeah, this is fine where you have it. So we actually have the DOT's approval for the curb cut there, and we will be adding a right turn lane also. As Mr. Paradise said, future plans are to have connectivity through Muir Road and then potentially going out towards Country Club Road. So that'll give us 3 points of access. Unfortunately, I'm not a traffic engineer. We subbed that out. So I'm not sure the distributions they made. But I do know that the improvements that Mr. Paradise was talking about was once you hit a certain number of lots, the traffic generates improvements that would need to be made at Gregory Lake and Martintown Road. So during this first phase, we will be adding the right turn lane there, going into the Gregory Lake, coming off Gregory Lake. Maybe don't remember the other questions or concerns. If there are any others, and we are, I can restate, what we felt our beliefs for justifying the increased block length that's presented in you, if you'd like.
Please.
Kind of going with the staff recommendations. So I'm going to read it because I'm not a very good public speaker. The waiver request does not conflict with the goals of the comprehensive plan. The goal of the plan is to provide road connectivity through the developments. The property's limited frontage along public roads dictated the location of the subdivision entrances. The property's irregular shape, steep topography, environmentally sensitive areas, and drainage features do not allow for a block-type layout of the roadways. The roadways are designed to follow natural ridges. The traverse between environmentally sensitive drainage features. Adherence to the standard would require extensive regrading of the existing topography, reduction of pervious green space, and have a negative impact on environmentally sensitive drainage features. It would not preserve the natural aesthetic of the landscape. With regards to the detriment to the adjacent property, it appears that the adjacent developments of Gregory Landing and Oak Creek utilize similar block lengths to what we've requested. So maintaining the natural green space around the environmentally sensitive areas acts as a buffer between the developments and in accordance with the goals of the comprehensive plan. So essentially, it really has to do a lot with the topography. If you have short block, if you have shorter block lengths, you don't have as much room for in the backyards or front yards, wherever it is, to get a good slope, because you're stuck with, a maximum grade on a road slope. So that's one of the main reasons for requesting the maximum block length be increased.
And you may or may not know this, but I'm assuming, given that it's R14 and the lot sizes, these are gonna be pretty expensive homes.
Yes, ma'am.
But upwards of half.
I don't really know,
Oh.
but I can tell you the developer is also a home builder. He takes pride in the house he builds. I don't know how many times you guys hear that saying, but I mean, there are examples of what he's done, and he really does care about his developments.
just two clarifying questions on something you said. So this is currently the only piece here that he owns? This is the only piece of property?
He is in negotiations to purchase another piece of it, and then so it's like 3 pieces.
Okay. And then you said you do have the approval from SCDOT
Yes,
already?
ma'am. And that'll be required before we get final approval. Anyways. But we have talked to them. The last thing that we're going to do is, they requested that we notify the property owner on Capers Lane that we're gonna be regrading the ditch out along the right-of-way to improve the drainage. So that's the only thing outstanding from South Carolina DOT.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman, staff did look at the block length to see if there was any way to finagle that smaller, and I did not see a reasonable way to make that happen. There are future connections there that will help as they expand it on out.
It's gonna be a nice development, I believe. I mean, like I said, or y'all said earlier, the lot sizes are larger than what's next door, so that gives plenty of room for single-family residences with nice size yards.
And then, so you also, okay, given that you all are still in negotiations, have no idea for timeframes for the other remaining phases, or?
So the second phase is gonna be soon,
Oh, okay.
and I'm just not 100% sure when
Which-
that is.
okay.
It kinda changed a little bit. Miss Baggett passed away, so now they're dealing with
Oh,
3 or
gotcha.
4 people. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna be very soon.
All right, and so then that starting of the second phase would also kick in the required traffic
Yes, ma'am.
improvements after this 110, so that is helpful. Okay. All right, any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm fine with the block length change, that's fine. I'm a hard no on the Gregory Lake entrance. I think and I know they said DOT says yes, I just think with the added traffic, I think there was a death there a few years back, a car, like right in that curve, so, yeah.
So I don't know, so Mr. Paradise, I guess. Okay, so, yeah, so can you, the subdivision, but there is no other entrance available for the subdivision, so you would be saying a no to that phase of the subdivision?
Hypothetically correct, because if they purchase the other land and they could come in from the other side and maybe not even have an entrance there at all, if you come in from Country Club or Murrah or whatever.
Well, I have a question. We're just talking about annexing that property. If we don't annex it, that
No,
doesn't
No,
necessarily.
This is not an
Subdivision.
annexation, this is preliminary
Okay,
plat approval.
my bad, my bad.
It's a preliminary plat approval. So if we
This
do,
lets them move dirt, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, go ahead.
No, this just lets them move dirt.
So if it is not approved, then they cannot move dirt there. So,
I mean, it's clear they have limited space to enter into their property, which is clearly the issue. And I don't think you could I get the right turn lane, you can't really put a turning lane because there's a big hill, that would just be complicated to cut that in, so.
Nor can we require it, or they do it without SCDOT's permission, correct?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to redesign this without the approval from SCDOT anyways, right? The way the entrance works.
Yeah, correct. If wherever they enter the DOT right away, they're gonna need an encroachment permit.
Okay.
Now, I see some struggling here. And I'm not an attorney. And I'll just put this as an option to you in case y'all wanna go down this road. I know the curve gives you pause and concern. I could, one option for you to do is to continue it and let me get a legal opinion from the city attorney, whether you can turn it down, because it's kind of what I'm seeing in your eyes, is that a legitimate reason to turn it down?
Right,
But
so, right.
I just throw that out there as an option.
Especially, given that it is a phase of the subdivision, and so becomes less of an issue as more of it is developed. But also given the time restraint, not sure when that's gonna be, what order, if the land is not formally acquired yet. All of that is reason to give pause to, so the concern about this being the entrance is, I think, maybe greater, given if we said, if it was at phase 2 starts in 6 months, we'd like to submit for that. If we had some, I think maybe firmer timelines on that, at least for me, that would be a little different. But if that's gonna be the only way kind of in and out for a while, I think.
And I think long-term, if we look, and I'll speak for myself, I live on that side of town, and when we eventually maybe someday do the traffic circle there, and it dumps traffic to go down Gregory Lake, when you go to 5 Notch, there's land further down that road that will be, it may be Edgefield County, it won't be North Augusta, but I think you're gonna see more development, and people coming off I-20 are gonna take that route. So it's this neighborhood, but I think it's future neighborhoods that are coming. So I just think we're gonna have a lot more traffic there.
Yeah, but we can't hold them responsible for that. And so I think a continuance and then an opinion on as to whether or not that is if that is even a realistic option for us would be helpful, Mr. Paradise. And certainly, we don't have a answer. We don't have a problem. I don't think anyone has a problem with the lock length at all. And and the insurance, though not great, if DOT has signed off on it, I also personally I don't know if that's enough reason to hold up the entire thing.
Right.
But that's the question. Yeah, that's the question, and so we will get an answer for that. Okay.
Just for, right.
You want to come back? Come on up. Nobody else is here. Come on.
And I get it, and I understand. I guess it's my understanding that access to the property is granted through South Carolina DOT. If they approve it, then I'm not
Yeah, no, that's the question we're gonna have asked.
okay.
Yeah, because that is the question, is that, yeah, so that is the question on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I know we all have concerns about this corner. We've all driven it. It's dark. There've been accidents there. But also putting street lights and a subdivision there is going to raise awareness. It's going to make this corner more visible. It's going to do a lot of things to make, that corner look more residential than, the backcountry road that we used to all speed down back in the day on the way to the country club or whatever. So, I don't like it there. It's an awkward place, but certainly, a development with lights out front and so forth are going to, slow people down and raise some awareness of that corner.
And to what he's saying, like, if it's not really our job to play DOT, if they're saying it meets what they're asking, I don't know that that's really enough legally for us to say we know better than the DOT. I mean, I know sometimes we think we do. But, I mean, at some point you gotta, again, legally, can we use our uneducated opinions to override the DOT's approval to turn it down? I would not feel comfortable trying to turn it down because of that.
And again, I similarly, if DOT has approved it, I'm against it. But we need a motion either way. So we need a motion either to approve it and then we can register the nays. We can also need a motion for a continuance to ask the question whether or not DOT, whether or not there are sufficient grounds to deny it. And can go from there. I think those are the two options. Probably best.
I am comfortable making a motion to approve it unless somebody would like to make a motion first to ask the
Continuance.
questions. I don't want to jump in front if that's what you want to do.
I would like to continue it.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion to continue. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so continuance, till we consult with the city attorney until the next meeting, correct? All right. So any further discussion? All right, any other questions, comments, discussion? Everybody's still looking, like we're still
Good.
not
I'm
really.
good.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? I'm gonna say nay, just because I don't. All right. All right, so it has been passed. We'll continuance. We'll get back, and we will see you, I guess, Mr. Titus, next month. All right, thank you.
Was that a 6-1 vote?
5.
Five to
5-1.
one. Yeah, we're missing
5-1,
red. So
okay.
and I was in
Math is hard as well as words. Yeah.
there.
I understand better than you realize.
All right. So up next is the tree discussion, no, the comprehensive
Comprehensive
10
plan.
plan, 10-year update. Excuse me, Mr. Paradise, would you please explain what we are considering?
Yes, ma'am. I included, and I apologize for the amended agenda and the process there. Last week was rather hectic for me, and I wanted to get this out in front of y'all as quickly as I could. The time is approaching quickly. August 7th of next year, the comprehensive plan expires. And this is the 10-year, state law calls it an update, 10-year update. We call it the rewrite. It's when you throw the plan out and write a new one. And there has been some discussion as to how we wanted to proceed with this. And it was determined that we would go out to the commercial market and get a consultant to come do this for us. And instead of going with the COG that did the 5-year update. So I included a draft RFP for y'all. I don't know if y'all have any comments. I would welcome any comments, suggestions. Administration is reviewing that draft now. But one of the things that we do need some guidance on is I want to get this RFP out as quick as possible, because this year is going to burn up quick. And how do you want to do that? And we are going to get those RFPs back, and how do you want them reviewed? And I laid out a couple of options for you. One is the Planning Commission as a whole can review them. Y'all wouldn't have to do that in an open meeting session, and it would be recorded, and any public comments, any comments you made about a particular consultant would be on the public record. Another way would be to have a subcommittee of less than a quorum so that you could do it outside of the private meeting or a public meeting. You could do a less than a quorum and with staff, or you could delegate it to staff. Staff doesn't have a problem doing it, but I think that's a direction we need to get from y'all. Do you want to read all of those and be involved in the process? Where is that point that, how you want us to move forward on it?
So there are 4 options before us, and again, this is just to review, this is for the request for proposals. So the actual, comprehensive plan itself, they'll be built in, and one of the things that is required as a part of the proposal is how they introduce, public comments and meet with the public on the actual comprehensive plan itself. So this is, again, just for the RFP.
These are the proposals from them or proposals we are sending out to them?
So the proposals for them, they're bidding on the ability to write the comprehensive.
And then we will review those.
That is the question.
Okay.
So it is for the proposals, right? Not the comprehensive plan itself, but just which consultant will be working on the comprehensive plan.
Personally, just off the cuff, I think the idea of having staff and a non-quorum group of us
I agree.
meet together
I
to
agree.
make sure that we're addressing things that they deal with on a daily basis, but also we kind of have a hand in too, would be a good way to start.
I agree.
Personally, now, I don't have a problem with staff just handling the proposals and picking who they want to work with.
Well, that's
But-
what I was gonna ask, is are there 3 of us who would be willing to
Right,
review all the
because if not-
proposals with,
yeah.
like, I'm willing to do it, but we would need 2 more people, obviously, that
Yeah.
would be willing to do it. Otherwise, I trust the staff to do it.
And let me also say this, keep in mind that as we proceed on the comprehensive plan, there will be lots of places for folks to be involved, in reading the comprehensive plan, so forth and so on. So I just want to make sure that, I don't want you to be burned out, because of
Right.
So just want you to also understand that there'll
Mhm,
be
mhm.
other places. But so that is a great way to start. Are there 3 who are interested? Or
Just
not
to
more-
get some kind of idea, like what kind of time commitment would this be? Like if we went with 3, like a few of us and staff, would we come down here? Like I've not done this part before.
And we say 3, it's whatever y'all decide. It could be 2, it could be 1, yeah.
Okay.
But it is a 30-page, no more than 30 pages, I believe, is what it's in there. And it's all in how many responses we get. If we get 1, it's 2, it's fairly simple. If we get 10, well, that's 10 of those that you need to review and grade. And so that takes time to read those and score them. And then, of course, we will need to meet probably for an hour or so to discuss them and discuss our scoring and make a recommendation.
Have we, in the past, for the comprehensive plan, have we sent out for RFPs before tied to the comprehensive plan?
Yes, I believe so. And the previous one was done by a private consultant. We have done RFPs for like the George Avenue traffic calming. That was an RFP from our office as well.
And have you had any planning commission members involved in those in the past, before my time?
The previous comprehensive plan, I don't know, it's before me. The George Avenue traffic calming, we did not. And
I don't think during my service. Doesn't mean it shouldn't. I mean,
Right.
it just happened. In any of the RFPs, because there've been several. There's been the traffic calming. I think it was at least 1 or 2 more.
yes, there was the Martintown Road corridor. That would have been a study that was an RFP. And I think Libby had several of them while she was here.
But if there is interest from anyone, then certainly can pick option 3, which is a committee not to be more than 3 members of the planning commission and appropriate staff to recommend, to provide the recommendation. So certainly, if you're interested, then I don't see any objection to, unless there is objection. I don't- Okay. Thank you, we appreciate you.
Okay, yeah, that works
So-
for me.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to, at this point, commit to a volunteer? So reading reviewing the proposals, scoring them, then meeting with staff to make a recommendation. And as Mr. Perry said, he can't give a firm estimate of the time commitment because, if you got 2, then it's 60 pages. If you have 10, then it's 300.
For getting them back.
we will, give the consultant a month to, after we put it out, to respond. And then we would like to turn those around fairly quickly, probably about a week's time, once we get those back, so that we can move it forward and get the contract issued and get them to work.
Will we be meeting with the staff if we do the committee during business hours or after hours?
Business
Trying to get an
hours.
idea of the commitment.
I would prefer business hours.
I would also, so that's,
Okay.
that helps, if that's okay.
That works for me.
I'll help do it as well.
Okay. All right, so we've got
I
it.
don't know what I'm doing, but I'm about to learn. Ready to learn.
All right.
I'd be interested also.
Look
All right, well, so now if there are more than 3 that are interested, then we need to do a formal committee. So-
I'll let them have it.
Okay. So we'll,
We know.
all right, all right,
Mr. Krieger is okay with that.
all right.
He said, boy.
So did Mrs. Slade,
Yes, as
you
well.
in?
Okay. All right, do you need a vote for a committee to be formed?
If you would, that would
Okay, all right.
solidify it for me.
So it would be, so the motion would need to be for a committee formed with no more than 3 members of the planning commission and appropriate staff to provide the recommendation based on reviews of the RFP for the comprehensive plan. So that needs to be a motion. I can't make it because I'm the.
I will move to make a committee or form a committee of not more than 3 members of the planning commission and appropriate staff to provide a recommendation based off of the RFPs for the updating of the comprehensive plan.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you.
Tommy, before we move on, just a quick question on, related to this but unrelated to this. My copy of the comprehensive plan is dated 2021. Why are we doing a 10-year update when we're 5 years into the current comprehensive plan?
Because that one was the 5-year update. The 27.
Okay.
I can say, let me explain, so I can tell you what he may or may not be able to say. So, it is that they call it an update, but legally we have to redo it. So it's not, that was a 5-year update, as most of us would think of it. What is being called an update for 10 years is actually a new document. So that's why. So they call it, they both, so they are referred to as the same thing, but the 5-year was an update that we did.
It says 2021 to 2031
No,
comprehensive
I
plan.
had the same question. I had the exact same question.
Uh-huh. Well, I didn't realize it said to 2031, but it is, you know, at 5 years, you do a review of the plan, and that's what that one was the review of the plan and the changes and then at 10 years, it doesn't say rewrite, it says update, but basically it's the rewrite.
Clear as mud. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I asked the same question. All right. Because I also remember doing it, and I was like, I thought we did this. All right, and then we have, next up is the tree discussion.
Yes, ma'am. We, after discussion month before last, and I appreciate y'all giving me a month off on this, the changes that I think y'all wanted, are indicated in red on there. Permits required, just so that there was clear. I added no clearing or grading there, and any grand trees or trees, so that we included both of those. I changed the minimum 20-foot buffer on the recommendation 2 to 25 feet to 20 feet and to 15 to 10. In talking with Mr. Keebler, the city arborist, he suggested oaks, magnolias, pines, cedars, sweet gums, black gums, and maple trees be on the protected list. Now that does, the pines puts us in a little bit of a conflict, and I will follow y'all are the decision makers there. And a tree survey would be submitted with all landscape applications, the DBH, location, and variety of the grand trees on the entire site, and a clear indication of trees to be removed, as well as the protected area required around each tree. And that would be the changes that I understood that y'all wanted as I perceived it.
And I had a question, because if you go down to recommendation 3, it includes magnolias, pines, cedars, sweet gums, and I personally I would want to remove probably at least pines and
sweet
maybe
gums.
magnolias and sweet gum. Magnolias I have split feelings on. So
I certainly think they provide more character than a sweet gum.
definitely provide more character, but the leaves and the difference
lot of
to
upkeep.
property and your roof is a different issue. So, but I also would probably, like, maybe if we could consider it, and I would love for Commissioner Harbison to be here.
I know.
Because we're picking trees and,
The concern I have with those two is I know, Rhett and I have talked about it before, that the depth of roots on a pine are not like other trees, which is why we had an issue in the hurricane. Their roots spread across the ground as opposed to depth. And so I have a hard time being like, you have to keep a tree in your yard that is most likely to fall. Yeah, I know.
But I
I
think
would like
pines
Rhett
tend
to
to
be
lose their tops, and then they,
Right.
well, right, and then it rots
Now
down,
here's
so that
your
creates a additional issue.
I would prefer for Rhett to.
so, if we could, we will have some thoughts around this, and then maybe if we could discuss it with Commissioner Harbison and rely on his expertise. Is that fine?
Yes,
Is
that's
that the
fair.
will of the group? All right.
I'm a
thank
fan
you.
of all other changes.
Huh?
I'm a fan of all the other.
Yeah, the other changes I'm fine with. I just, that in particular, recommendation 3. But I would like to get his opinion on the other changes as well.
And one of the things, as I was going through this, if y'all will look at this, is make sure that we're not creating a conflict
Right.
between 1 and 3 and 2, and to be honest with you, my head starts spinning after a little bit. So any help you can do there, I'd appreciate.
I did try to review it with that exact specification in mind, and I did not notice any personally.
Ah,
After pines, but we'll
Right,
sit
right,
with
right,
it
yeah,
and
right. Besides the tree types.
we'll sit with it and put a
gotcha.
little pressure on Commissioner Harbison. All right. And then next is the signage amendment.
Yes, ma'am. I added a sentence to 9.6.2 that I hope captures what you was looking for, where the tenant space square footage would allow more than 200 square feet of signage. The main sign is limited to no more than 250 square feet. Maybe you want a different number there. I don't know, but y'all were talking about the scale.
Yeah, I think that's what we agreed upon
Mhm.
the last time. So if we are fine on that, then we need to make that recommendation. So we need to, is this at the point where we need to recommend the changes in red as written for the development code?
Correct.
To council?
Yeah, if you're ready for it, then we need to advertise the text amendment and put it on next month's agenda so y'all can make their recommendation.
Okay, are you all ready for
Mhm,
that?
mhm.
Okay, so yes, please proceed
good.
accordingly. All right, and not that we cover, we certainly have covered enough in this meeting, but any additional staff reports?
I really don't have anything.
Thank God.
All right, as always, we thank you and your team for all that you all do, and certainly appreciate you. And we will see you for the July meeting. If anyone's travel plans will have them missing, please be sure to let us know well in advance so that we can, if need be, address any absences. All that being said, a motion to dismiss.
So moved.
All right, thank you all.